Hey friends, this is Gavin Hardkiss from Hardkiss Music in San Francisco, and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection Podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. I'm your host Daz. Usually I do a football and music episode where I bring on a musician to talk about football and music. But today, you know what? I'm doing something a little different. My next guest isn't a football supporter. He's massively into music and he's part of my musical landscape. So I'm going to have him on. So no football talk today. We might talk about a few stadiums he's played at, which is football related somewhat, but you know what? He's two-time Grammy nominee, which is fantastic. He has remixed the likes of Fatboy Slim, Madonna, Moby, Tori Amos, Depeche Mode, and Sir Paul McCartney. And that's just a smidgen of the top artists he's remixed. He's label boss of Rockets and Ponies. It's Mr. Timo Maas. I am so happy you're on, mate. I've got loads of questions for you, but what I most want to hear is the stories.
Very good. I have a lot of stories. I'm a techno granddaddy here, so I have enough stories. Yeah, nice to meet you, Naz. Pleasure for me to be in your show. Let's clarify the footy thing first. So I am actually, I was looking through my old pictures like a few days ago, and I found a picture with some of the big boys from the early 2000s, like Sasha, Emma, Darren Emerson, and I was wearing a St. Pauli t-shirt actually. And I have to admit that I am a fan of the fans of St. Pauli. I could not name a player. I could not name anyone. I tried that today with my friend from Hamburg. I could name no one in the team, but I'm a fan of the fans. They are just awesome. They're great, and they have a history. And somehow it's like I'm still wearing my. Let me check. Am I wearing? I'm wearing a St. Pauli shirt, but that's accidentally today. So it's like, I just like their attitude and the story behind the club really, but not a big football fan. And the other thing with the stadium, you mentioned that already. I did in 2006. I played a stadium actually as a warm up for Depeche Mode in the Legia Stadium in Warsaw, which is actually pretty famous for like having hardcore fans and all that. Yeah, I survived as a German in Poland. It was not bad.
Yeah, the South American fans are absolutely insane, like Brazilian and Argentinian fans. It's like they love their football and they love the music, like passionately.
I know. Right, there's another one. I've been once on tour that was also in the 2000s. I seen in Buenos Aires a game of the Boca Juniors versus, what is the other city team in Buenos Aires?
River Plate.
River Plate. It was Boca Juniors versus River Plate. And holy bananas. That was fucking nuts. Yeah. That was properly nuts. I mean, I had nothing to worry about, but that was really kind of scary even, the atmosphere there, explosive, totally crazy. And it was like,
they do a lot of the fireworks and everything.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's mental that Bundesliga does that as well.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to, but they do that. And sometimes also the St. Pauli fans do that. It's like, be fair enough. So they do this sometimes too. It's officially not allowed, but I had a few games. A friend of mine has a lounge in the St. Pauli Stadium since a long time. So once a year or so, I am actually going to Hamburg. And, when I have like whatever, some business to do over there. And then, I try to watch at least like one game a season or so, just for the atmosphere. Yeah. And then I have an easy entry there. So, So they're still cool. They're doing good. Erste Bundesliga, first Bundesliga at the moment. So I don't know how long. I don't know if they survive it there, but we will see. As I say, I don't know even where they are ranked at the moment, but I think very much at the low end.
You gotta wonder sometimes, Timo, how they get all these fireworks into the stadium. I'm like, You know,
I literally don't want to imagine.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I really don't want to know. But I want to take you back a little bit. I always like to ask. I mean, I've read a lot of interviews that you've done, and you know, you said your mum and dad weren't you weren't influenced by their musical. But what were they like listening to? With a young Timo in the house, because you have an older brother, right?
Yeah, I have an older brother. My parents split up when I was really, really young, but I was 2. So what I remember, both passed away years ago. So I don't remember my father really having like a kind of a strong connection to music. He used to run a pub or several pubs for about 35 years, and he had his Wurlitzer jukebox in it. And when I was a child, that was my first 7 inches I was actually getting, was, when he was like changing the records like every month or 2 or so, I was like getting like the 7 inches he didn't use anymore. And that was like start of my record collection when I was like 7, 8 or something like that. My mom used to like, I remember Fats Domino. Do you know? Have you heard of Fats Domino? Like,
oh yeah, of course.
Proper. What is that? Jazz?
Yeah, American jazz player.
Yeah. So this is one I remember. My brother was like listening to bands like Pink Floyd at the time, for example. So he had a bit of an influence for sure in the very early years to kind of like just open my eyes for what's out there. But I would say I pretty much, developed my own taste for music, and then developed over all the years. I was just loving and communicating with music. It was just like that. I'm just mentioning that. I mean, my family was not like, let's say, it's family or anything like that. But I discovered very early when I said I started collecting with 7, 8, I started collecting records because I love music. And let's say I was rather the child no one plays with because I don't come from a good family or anything like that. So I didn't have many friends or anything like that. It all came when my interest for music was like kind of like when, people were, or my, school friends or so, when they started talking about music, I knew everything. I had already a little collection and so on and so on. And I started understanding very early in my life that music is the best language I can actually speak. And I kind of like started communicating until the day of today, actually, like through music. So it's, I think, we do a nice chat and this and that, but I think the best I can communicate is playing a set, really, because I'm truly a born DJ. Yeah.
I love that. I really do. Like for me, it was mostly hand-me-downs from my sister. So 7-inch, I took whatever she didn't want. So, I grew up with a lot of Joy Division, Smiths, New Order, Depeche Mode.
So you grew up in the UK, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's different also. I mean, I learned very early, like in the early 90s already, that like how great the music scene in the UK was back in the days, just from the knowledge of music, what people generally have, like then in Germany. Like Germany was, we had the chart shows on TV and blah, blah, blah. But, I was super impressed when I seen Jules Holland for the first time. Something that is like, just like proper bands, small bands, new bands, artists in a small studio, okay, show us what you can. Yeah. And I love that, this format of like, this format of not having a format. It's like you had rock music, you had like dance music, you had like hip hop, you had like whatever was there, singer, songwriter stuff and so, but always interesting, always exciting, and basically condensed to the talent. And I was really impressed. And then, the people I met, like the music scene in the UK was always something I was really attracted by. And it was one of my main things also when I was there for the first times in the UK. Why I really aim to play also in the UK, because I just loved it. I'm DJing since 1982. And it's like one of my dreams was actually to play in the UK. And Well, yeah. Eventually I did then. I started in 95.
Well, it's like, growing up for me was Top of the Pops, the chart show. It's where the family got together, get your sandwiches. Me dad would give me a shandy, at like 13. Over here in America, you kind of looked upon like, oh, you can't give your kids alcohol that early. But, people got to understand this is like the mid-'80s, obviously a lot of things. It's pub culture in England. So
yeah.
That's what you were given. It was more lemonade than it was beer. But yeah,
even about that. I mean, it's like celebrating that, actually celebrating like music. It's different. I just learned that in the UK it was always different than in Germany. Just as I say, people more open-minded, more interesting music, more stuff I didn't know, more stuff. I was so happy, and I'm still happy to explore. Nowadays, it's a bit different. As I say, I think that, like, especially pop music and like popular music in general, not just pop music, has like watered out a lot. It's like, the times of the big albums is unfortunately over. Now you have Taylor Swift doing a big album, selling like trillions of whatever units, or having at least like whatever billions of plays and so on and so on. And it's well done stuff and so on. It's nicely written pop music and so on and so on. But let's say, something like Queen or so. I don't want to be like here, totally grandfather style, but the thing of like the concept albums, it's like that's what I probably miss a little bit. But also the listening behavior has changed. People stream nowadays. They like one song, they like two songs, but who has the patience like you and me, to sit there and dive into the whole work of one particular artist we absolutely love and want to, being taken on his or her journey. And this is something I really miss in music. And somehow it's something I'm always also thinking about doing another concept album. Does it make sense? But I'm a bit old school. I like to tell the story, not just like, throwing out the track or anything like that. So saying that, working on something, obviously. Yeah?
I think the biggest thing, Timo, is it's the attention span of the younger generation. Like you just alluded to, one or two songs, that's enough for them. A whole album for me, was saving your pocket money up, going to the record store and buying that album vinyl, which, obviously a lot of people don't buy nowadays. You just get on the internet, click, download, bam, it's on your computer.
I remember my first album I bought. That was the Johnson Crew on Tommy Boy Records. I think
Electro, right?
Hey?
Electro.
That was the first proper electro album, really. Yeah, and that was my first album I bought, and I was ordering that in this little shop in my hometown, which was like selling, what was it, sewing machines, bicycles, and vinyls. and I ordered that in the shop, and they had never heard of that, and then waited like 2.5 months or so to finally have this vinyl in my hand. And it was awesome. It's like you really appreciated that. It's also like being a DJ in this period when nothing was digitally available. So it was really like hunting. Yeah, you were hunting for the records. You were, it's a completely different thing. Let's say our Facebook was the record store. Yeah. You didn't show your face, you didn't get the good records. If you didn't show your face, you didn't get the job in the club. When I started traveling, DJs were even not existing. And it was 100% about your skills. Either you were a great DJ or not. If you were a great DJ, then eventually you had like your weekend jobs or anything like that. But, the traveling DJs were not there at the time. This only came like 87 or so. Yeah.
The record store for me was a social aspect of it where you...
That's what I said. That was our Facebook. Yeah. It's social aspect. Meeting the people... digging the crates, listening to the new trends. Have you heard this? And so it's like it was just very different, and I loved it.
So yeah. I mean, growing up, when did you? Because I know you played some house parties to begin with. So I've talked to a lot of DJs, and their first turntables were definitely not Techniques 1210s or 1200s. They were. How was yours?
I mean, in my upbringing, I wasn't not really getting any support. So I started collecting records, but I had the records like at a friend's house because I was just not getting the support. I wasn't able to listen to this stuff. I had a super old dual turntable in the early 80s, which someone gave me as a present, and then super old school like amp, like from like the early 70s. But I was able to listen to my stuff. And then I learned beat mixing, like beat matching, really at friends' places, or when I was playing out already at the time was like the Moby discotheque that I was running with a friend. And this is where I then like learned, but then with like one turntable without a pitch and the other one like a Technics, like with this little wheel in front, and not like not like the 1200s or so. And then, I got my first pair. For my 18th birthday, I was getting a bit of money from the grandparents. And the first thing I bought was a pair of decks, basically. That was, I didn't have any money for anything else, but I bought a pair of decks. I wanted to have that. That was my big dream. So, I kind of like got stuck on the chain.
So were you just playing like house parties until, because, I know you're a club DJ at 17?
I started in 82, so I was starting playing. I started playing in. One second, my glasses. I started playing in 82, and then house parties, friends parties, but already with 13. I didn't have all the vinyls, so I was playing with like 2 tape decks. Yeah, and I was just like fast forward, fast backward, with the tracks, and then like just mixing one. Of course, no beat matching or anything like that. But this is how I started playing. And then with like 14 or so, I was founding like a mobile discotheque already with a friend. So I was like a little bit of a tech nerd, as I say, in my bubble, and had my little record collection. I always took it to every gig, basically. With 15. I was already playing every 6 weeks on regular parties that were going like in the little village where I was playing. And then I was playing in clubs when I was 17 already. I was officially not allowed to, but I was already playing in clubs. And then at the time also when I didn't play regularly, I was working as a light jockey because I was in the club, I had my rhythm already, and then working. I just wanted to be there. I wanted to have loud music and learn about music and so on and so on. And and then I also did an education, a proper education as a telecommunication electronic, but gave that up then in 94, 30 years ago, basically, to give myself 1 year to try it with the music full professionally, because I always did it for many years, nearly every weekend, but I never thought. No one thought about doing this professionally at the time. But then I gave myself a year, and it's December is 30 years that I'm in the game, that I'm professional, and so on. So 30 years professional, 42 years of DJing, and also 30 years ago I released my first record. So
that's just mental.
And a lot of stuff in between, obviously. Huh?
Yeah, the longevity, you're still in the game. There's a lot of people, DJs that have come and gone, producers come and gone, that, they're a flash in the pan. Today's producers, you've got a lot of ones that are, as they would say, one-hit wonders, that they've cracked the music scene supposedly. And I just saw like the DJ Mag Top 100. I've never laughed so hard in my entire life of the one that just came out. Again, DJ Mag I used to pick up on a regular basis, and the Top 100 was based on talent.
Yeah, I know.
Now it's a popularity contest. It just seems.
It's not even. I would say it's not even a popularity contest. It's a marketing contest. I mean, whoever put the bigger marketing budget into that is like, kind of like winning this list. I mean, fair enough. This is just this is what it is nowadays. I mean, we can dive deep into music culture and how it was back in the days. Let's say. What I said before, back in the days was 100% about the music. Nowadays, it's about having the most followers on Instagram and anything like that. I don't want to sound too bitter. I just find it a little bit sad because I don't see this as a service. I see this as an art. What I do, the DJ as well as the music production and so on and so on. I mean, forever I'm a DJ, and then at some point it was just not enough for me to play my own stuff. So then eventually I started producing tracks with my different partners over the years. But as I say, I'm a DJ nowadays. I mean, you have one track, you were lucky, you have this momentum, you have this one track. Doesn't even need to be the reinvention of the wheel, but you're just lucky. One track, and then they put you on main stage on a big festival, and basically never learned how to entertain people, never learned of how to really create a set apart from playing one breakdown and snare roll after the other. And I would say I appreciate older DJs, not that I'm saying like the young guys are generally like not so talented. I don't want to say that there's awesome DJs out there, but a lot of them is like, as I say, it's producers, being put on the stage, and now they're DJs. But we were DJs. We had all the experience, and we used our experience and all the skills and everything to create something that is friendly for the dance floors. We know, and we know how to rock. It's a different thing. But as I say, I don't want to sound too bitter about this, but I mean, I'm working hard every day, 24/7. I love that. And yes, I'm long in the business, and there's highs and there's lows and so on and so on. But I'm driven by the love to the music. And this is why I told you that it's my language, and it will always be my language. It's just like that. I'm just like that old school, that I really do this and still do this with all the drive I'm having for the sole love of music,
and not for the money. I'm a big.
Well, I have to take care of. I have my bills to pay, of course, but it's total business.
Yeah, I mean, like I've listened to people like Sven Vath and Dave Clark, talk about what's kind of going on with DJing and stuff. And I mean, we can't sit here and sound like two old farts, back in my day, blah blah blah,
No, I mean, it's a different
time,
Yeah.
But you've held it down for so long. But when your love for DJing is still obviously strong, when was it where you were like, I need to start making my own tracks?
Yeah, that was in the early 90s. I was playing in the 80s already, like, let's say it was like 18, 19, 20. I was playing big commercial clubs in North Germany. And I was playing partly like every Friday and Saturday alone. Friday from like 9 to 4, Saturday from 9 to 5, like the whole night alone. If there was a 70s party, 60s party, or a model contest or anything like that, these were all the things I was also doing there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how often I played Losing My Religion by R.E.M. and how much I hate the song, actually, because I played it so much in this period of my life. And then, like in the early 90s, I said, I frankly, what we called rave music at the time, mainly coming from the UK and a bit from America and so on, and Belgium and so on and so on. This is where my love was. And I was also, since like 86, 87, like buying records into this direction. So this was the music I love. And the other thing was like a service I did. And I was just getting tired of that shit. And I was like kind of like giving up the commercial music then in 91 or 92. and then said, well, maybe that's it with my DJ career or so, but I still collected my records. I completely forgot the question. I know I'm going into the right direction. What was the question?
Oh, when you started to actually, go,
yeah. And then after a few months not playing anywhere, someone asked me, hey, do you want to play techno house? I don't know how we called this in the early 90s party, just that music. Like a promoter from like a 200 people club in my hometown asked me. I said, yeah, why not? I mean, they knew that I love this kind of sound, but there was no platform for that. Yeah, why not? And it became a real big success. So from that point on, I was just like only continuing with like house and dance music. And if I was playing, I was only playing then like this kind of like parties. And then, automatically after a while, I realized, hey, I have my ideas. I get inspiration from like playing out. I get inspiration from this like growing kind of like really underground scene there, and so on and so on. I wanted to express myself, and so I was always working with producers, with engineers my whole life. And I was looking there already for like someone I can, produce a record with, because I wanted to have my own vinyl, something that I play and it works on the dance floor. The people are rocking. This is what my dream was then. It grew up over the time. Then most importantly, when I was only playing that kind of music. 30 years ago, 30 years ago. 30 years.
You have to pinch yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have my record collection anymore. I sold it actually many years ago already, apart from my own stuff, like my own archive. I still have, it's still a wall full of stuff, of vinyl, and so on and so on. I had at a certain point, like roughly, who wants to count it, but roughly 35,000 vinyl. So, and pretty much everything from the 70s until I basically gave up playing vinyl in the earlier 2000s when the CDJs came out. And I completely grew up with this. I just wanted, I wanted to play my own vinyl. And it felt so good, even though when I hear my first vinyl nowadays, it's like, oh, yeah. I don't even tell you the title, but then, but still it was like super kicking for me. And then also getting a feedback for a recording is still different feedback than for like a DJ set. And I really like that. And then, I continued. 95, then the next one, I think 94 I did 2 releases, and then 95 the next one. That became already like an underground hit, like in the clubs that were playing this stuff. And I was like, wow. I was getting like my first like international recognition. Was it back in 95? Die Herdplatte with a guy called Gary D from Hamburg, proper hard trance with gated strings and the whole full story.
Back in the day, it was so good because once you did get a dub plate made or the vinyl done, you could go to a club and pass, actually play it yourself, or if another resident DJ was playing, you can give them the vinyl, and they would, put it on pretty much straight away. And I think that's one of the biggest things I miss is just, with speaking to people is the vinyl aspect of it, is just being able to hand it to someone.
Yes. This is one of the things. And then what I said, it's the exclusivity that you had. It's like not everyone was able to get this vinyl. And it's like, it's like not everyone was able to play your set, basically, because it was completely depending on your selection and collection, what you were able to play. Nowadays, everyone can have and play theoretically everything. And a lot of people go the very easy way in following the whatever Beatport top 100 and so on and so on, or top 20 or so, play one hit after the other. Of course, this stuff is working for like, big crowds and stuff like that. But it's like, if this is inspiring, I don't think so. If this is art, I don't even think so. I think it's a proper way of like, let's say, performance in all its directions, but it's not art. Art is the art of selecting. the art of like finding something that is exciting people, but they don't know about that. And I still try to do this nowadays in my sets. I'm super selective with the tracks I'm playing, and I love to rock the crowds with music they never heard. It's still possible today. Yeah, but yeah, different times. But you said we shouldn't sound like two old farts talking about the past.
I know, but we are.
Yeah.
Did you ever, and you can pull the wool over my eyes if you want. Did you ever think Doom's Night would do as well as it did? Because it just took off. I mean, like I said, I've been in the States now for 20, 30 years. But when it first came out in the UK, I was like, it was different from anything I'd ever heard.
Obviously, you cannot predict a hit. You just simply cannot. And there is a lot more to that than just like, let's say, doing there's a lot of particular tracks. It's all about momentum. It's all about, the things that come together to eventually form something that, that get more and more recognized. So this thing, I mean, I call Azido like the spot at the ass of my career. Always when you think it's gone, it's coming back. I am actually right now talking again with the record company about something connected to that. However, when Martin Woodridge and I, Genius Martin was obviously, I did like a lot of the very successful records, late 90s or from the mid 90s until like the end of the 2000s. When we were, Azido was just a local DJ from the north of Germany playing some club there. So he was no one famous at all or anything like that, but we liked to drink Jägermeister together. And so he asked me, hey, you want to do this remix for me? I signed it to, Edel Records in Hamburg. And, it's like, they have a bit of budget. Would you like to do a remix? Okay. So I was sitting with Budrich and our former partner also in the studio. We were thinking, okay, what we're doing there? Well, the original track is shit. And the only thing that we like is like the bass line that the guy was like sampling actually from Flat Eric. Mr. Orzo, Flat Eric, from the Levi's ad. And so we said, whatever, fuck it. It's another remix. We just do a new track. So we did a new track just because it was a very, very inspirational time. That was in April 99, I remember. And let's say we had a good output of what we loved with our kind of sound. So we did this remix, which was a new track, sent it then to the record company, and they said, hey, it's a new track, there's nothing of the original. I said, well, the original is shit. Yeah, we can't take this. Okay, whatever. And then that, by the way, became the single You Big, which became my first big single in the UK. Like the same year or a year later, 99 or in 2000 became really big. However, so the record company refused it. And then we went back to the studio and we said, hey, we give up this remix. No, we give it one afternoon. We just do a track one afternoon. And then Martin and I think we worked like together 3-4 hours on that, what it is today. And again, we realized, fuck, there's nothing of the original. Whatever, it's like, let's finish this remix. Shall we do this as a Timo Maas thing? No, whatever, let's deliver that remix, whatever. Also remembering with a breakdown, it's a full breakdown. Speed it up. We can't speed it up. Josh Wink did this already years ago and so on, speeding up like a track with, it's not in, come on, let's speed it up, works on the dance floor, let's finish the shit, get it out of the studio. And this is how it was. Same day, we recorded it. It's actually a very simple thing. And we thought, doesn't sound like anything really. Yeah, whatever. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't. So they liked it. And then they released it in August 99. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. No one was listening to that stuff. But then the garage scene came, and eventually some in the UK, then eventually some of the DJs in the garage scene started banging that out, and more people were just like jumping on it. It's not a garage track at all, but it's not a techno track, it's not a house track. It's exactly between the chairs. You cannot categorize it, but it works. It still works today. It was just functioning on the dance floor. And then it was getting a hype and so on. And then 1 year later, it hit the top 10. Then. Got released 3 times, but was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Then I think Notting Hill Carnival 2000, it was getting played on every fucking stage, from every DJ, from drum bass to techno, from house to break beats, big beats, or whatever was hip at the moment. And then the week after, it hit the top 10 then in the UK. And then, became a worldwide hit.
How many months did it take for you to go, I'm sick of this?
I'm still not sick of it.
No?
In a way, I mean, of course, it's like it's 25 years old now, this track, but it still is what it was like back in the days. It's like, just the bass line is whoa. It's like everyone knows that when the sound comes, it's from that track. It's some kind of like a history that's written there, and it still rocks. It still rocks. I mean, my data collection always tells me when some of my colleagues play, and it's getting played every weekend, still all around the world, from famous, non-famous DJs, and it's like, it still is a statement. And of course I'm proud. And of course sometimes the history annoyed me, obviously, because I was getting ripped off we were getting ripped off by the record company and blah, blah, blah. So the real money the so-called original artist made. But whatever, it was the breakthrough for my name and me then in the whole world. And the years after were just getting more and more crazy, just like ridiculously fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, you did your debut album, Loud, 2002, yes. And then, your mixes with Oakenfold's Perfecto. Yeah, I mean, that just, for me, your Mad Dogs was absolutely insane. Again, it's I grew up, I'm a househead, but in a way where I take in progressive, deep house breaks. I mean, if it's good, it's good. I don't give a crap what you call it, what genre it is. If it moves me, then it moves me. And you don't want to. I don't think you've still been pigeonholed, because when somebody says, "What does Timo play?" Timo plays what Timo plays. It's Timo's.
I always said back in the years, what is this you're playing? Yeah, Timo's song. What is Timo's song? I said, come to my show and listen. I never played the same set. I never played the same sound. I just, as I say, I'm a DJ. Every room is different. Every club is different. You go to the same club every Friday, every Saturday. It's always different. It's always different vibes, different people. So it's like, so your music should be, when you're smart, also different. Fitting to the people, reading the crowd, understanding what they might like or not, and diving into old school again. Techno grandpa.
You do a little bit of research, when you're playing the, like say a club that you've never played before. Yeah. Do you do a little research on the club and maybe listen to, what they've played?
I mean, I'm obviously looking at the lineups that they're having there, and when I'm not, let's say, headlining a club night or anything like that, when I'm with other guys on the bill, guys, girls, whatever on the bill, I pay interest what kind of sound they play, but I mean, I'm booked for what I do in the end of the day. So it's like, in a techno club, let's say, in a club that has mainly techno bookings, I play rougher sets. Not that I, play like the others or so, but of course I play 2-3 BPM faster and a bit more like, let's say, the ballsy stuff or anything like that. But, it's like, I love the clubs where it's not happening too often, but where I play the whole night. Yeah. I love to do that, like setting my own vibe from the beginning on, or, when I have, those clubs, Gewölbe in Cologne, for example, is a club like that, where they always take care that you have when you have a warm-up DJ, then the DJ is also doing a warm-up, because that's an art too. It's not like playing his ego shit, like to got the hands in the air and the people screaming before any kind of, in the progression of a night, any kind of like highlight the headline DJ or whatever is coming on. You know what I'm talking about. And also a lot of experience with that. But I love to play long sets. I love to progress, and everything's different. Every night's different. I never prepare sets, but I always prepare myself. Nowadays, since many years, I got my 3 USB sticks, all identical. If I lose one, happened very often already, that I always have, a backup. And I'm preparing myself every week, obviously, with like listening to new promos, playing my new stuff from my friends, crate digging as much as you can call it like that. But, I'm still researching a lot about music. I'm also a coach nowadays for up-and-coming producers, artists, and so on, coach, mentor. And so therefore, I do like sessions with people like basically every week, like private session, one-to-one session, if you want to book one, contact me. And therefore, I'm listening to a lot of music, also very detailed. I'm producing a lot also with like different kind of producer or production teams right now, and also all across the board. So, and I try to include like everything that triggers me or triggers my musical senses like into my sets. And as I do so much at the moment, when I say 24/7, trust me, it's 24/7. I don't have no days here where there's no music on somehow. And you see, the fire is still burning. I still love it. And I love it to be individual. Of course, it's easier to consume when Maas plays tech house, but I don't. Yeah. It's all places. What kind of sound do you play? I play like, what is it? Psychedelic techno. Some people call it techno. Some people call it whatever they call it. Let's say it's a trip. I'm a storyteller. And this is what I do in my music production. This is what I do as a DJ. And no matter what style, I'm there to take people on the journey. This is my real mission. Now,
you've been on two of my favourite labels, Digweed's Bedrock and Sasha's Last Night on Earth. Two fantastic.
Yeah, if release on Bedrock, then tomorrow, basically.
Yeah. I cannot wait. It's just, again, with Bedrock and Last Night, you can't really pin them down all the time. You think Last Night's going to be all progressive, and then, there'll be an electronic track come on. This, like by Otik, he's been on there, and it just blows your mind, and you're like, oh, it's different. And same with Bedrock as well. You think again, he started progressive, then goes kind of techno, then goes breaks. Those are labels that I love because you don't really know what's coming. Now
they rather stand for an attitude rather than for a particular style. It's an attitude. It's like, I'm obviously, I'm following Sasha Diggers like since at least 25 years. And they are a prime example about, what they are transporting in their DJ sets, and then also on the labels. It's like as soon as you try, it's another prop guy or anything like that, you experience moments in their sets where you just blow your mind on a completely different planet. And you only afterwards, when they spit you out, then afterwards, like after 4 hours, that's it. Yeah, it's like you realize, fuck, man, this was absolutely fucking awesome. What music? I have no clue. It was just great. It was just a great trip, and this is what I love. This is why I'm also what I mentioned. This is why I'm very proud to be with my partner there on Bedrock again. I had several things over the years, but it's great to be back after all those years. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny to as DJs, I DJ. It's more, collecting now because I've got 4 kids, so they won't let me out the house. But, you buy the music, right? You bring it home and you're like, that doesn't sound like Timo when he was playing it. That doesn't sound like Diggers or Sasha. This is shit. What's going on? It's how you're very good at what you do, because, a lot of people could take A and B records and make it sound kind of blur. And I'm not blowing steam up your arse. You take A and B and you turn it into fucking 3 or 4 tracks. It just blows my mind. And same with Diggers and same with Sasha as well, that you're able to do that because you've got this ear that's just so tuned in to what you're doing. And, I appreciate it.
I would even say it's like this kind of thing that pops up in my head in like-minded heads and colleagues and talents for sure. I have an image. I can't really describe that, but I have an image. When I play, it's literally when I play a track. It's like for me. It's nearly autism in a way. It's like in my head there's like clouds popping up of tracks that are on my artist here. Yeah. And where I said, I could play this now, I could play that now. And I always keep myself open-minded and spontaneous with that. I really follow my instinct, really follow my vibes. I try, we always talk about the best case scenario. Sometimes you have jobs and I am experienced enough also to deliver there. But it's like the real shit is like, the real shit is exactly that. I can't really describe it. It just comes and I'm very grateful. I'm very good in some things. I'm completely shit in many things, but this is one thing I'm completely confident with. It's like I'm very confident that over 40 years of like selecting and playing music, I found my space where I feel comfortable. It's like so much, life, family, stress, pandemia, Donald Trump, all those things that suck basically. It's like when I'm behind the decks, it's like I'm in my safe zone. I'm in my comfort zone. I'm there. I have control. A DJ has a lot of control, and I like power. Literally power. You can do so many things when you're good there. You can do such a lot of things. And my experience of the 80s, especially, and serving clubs with completely mixed crowds and playing everything. My old DJ teacher in my teenage years, he told me, how do you create like a whole night? Like I'm still sticking to that until now. How do you create? He said, I'm always playing maximum 3-4 tracks, songs, whatever, into one particular micro style. And then I change. And I said, why? He said, to have a story over the night. And I kept it like this until today. It's when you really listen to my set, there is like, this kind of, let's say, trippy, SED, blah, blah, blah. There's never 2 or 3 tracks into that direction. And then I kind of like change it, move it over. I learned so much in these years, and it's so much like experience that I'm really grateful for. That, of course, you can hear, when you're really into music, you can ideally also hear the sets. Of course. As I say, I'm playing 2 hours of tech house. I would just bore the fucking shit out of myself. I could take it easy. I could just like have my playlist there, like many have. No. I don't even have a box.
But it's good that the punters, the punters trust you.
In the best case scenario, they do this. Yeah. Not always. Sometimes you have to convince them. Yeah. But also that is possible with nearly everyone.
So I think that helps with the longer sets. If you're shoved in for an hour, 2 hours, that really just doesn't do you justice. So, the longer the set is, I think the better connection you make with the dancers. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but when you go to a show, it's the whole thing is called dance music, right? True. We know that most of the time it's phone music. I don't understand it. Paying that much money to go to a show to just hold up your mobile phone and
with videos that you never even look at anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
just go, hey, I was there. Yeah, great. Yeah.
This is how you're there. Your memory's right here, and I think that's where the old fart of me comes out more, because I'm just like, dance. The DJ's doing a damn good job. I don't understand why you're not dancing. So I think obviously EDM is a big thing over in the States, and it is massive over here. But I think eventually a lot of those kids that are going to these like more commercialized shows, they will start to get tired of it, and they'll start to look for more underground stuff. And that's what I'm really looking forward to with these kids. You know, when they hit they're 18, 19 now, once they hit maybe 22, 25, they'll be like, I've had enough of that cartoon techno that's been playing, and I want something more that has a bit more soul to it, a bit more funk to it. And I'll start to delve into, different backgrounds of music. And that's what I'm excited about for the future.
I mean, I said my daughter is nearly 20 now, and she's like into the hard techno stuff, blah, 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 since about 1.5 or 2 years or so, coming out of the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. And, but however, she's first of all a very good example of how just young people consume. Yeah? Because she's just a typical consumer. I'm studying that. Super interesting for me. And but nowadays she just told me, actually she told me yesterday that she was like relatively recently diving deeper into my music actually, and that she likes some of the stuff, like for example she was like mentioning Enjoy the Silence, the remix I've done for Depeche, that she says and I felt like really honored from my daughter. She said, this is the most beautiful thing you've ever done. Oh. And I was thinking, it's not hard techno, darling. Yeah. She was like, and it's like, it's exactly that. She started with the hard techno stuff. Before that, she was just consuming whatever was there. And then like the harder techno stuff. But now she's eventually learning more. There is more different varieties. You mentioned underground. It's not really underground, just different. It's like just different music. It's like when not all of them, but a good portion of those, let's say, young people. I don't always want to call them kids, but of the young people, I'm happy to see when they develop musically for their music understanding into like kind of like different directions. It's like, okay, EDM, fine. We see this as a door, as a gate to something. I mean, I'm happy that generally electronic music plays such a big role. And, trends are changing, our techno is changing, EDM is changing, tech house is a new EDM, it's not so new, or Afro house, call it what you want. It's a trend, it will go, but it's still under the big umbrella of electronic music, and this is still a good thing. It is reaching a lot of people, but reaching, let's say, with like the appreciation of great productions, the appreciation of like a certain amount of like quirkiness or like strange ideas or this is something you and I appreciate, and also a lot of younger people. It will always be only a few percentage of the whole listeners who will, like with everything in life, that are so deep into that and that appreciate that so much like we do. I mean, we are no good examples because we love music so much and was never questioned by anything or anyone over our whole life. So it's like, it's a different thing, but yeah, as I say, it's good. I'm happy about this, like the story with my daughter. And I'm also, I'm happy about everyone in the club who's like just over 20. I just had this situation last week in Cologne with a whole bunch of people. They're just over 20, and then like 2 hours into my set, they come, hey, can you tell me your name again? You play really fucking great music here. What's your name? I said, Timo Maas. I never heard of you. I said, do your research. I said, there's a lot to discover. And it's normal. I mean, I have my heritage. I do this since so long. I've done literally everything. But shall I always have my dictionary with me? Here, read about. I'm this, I'm that. It's like, in nowadays market, it's important to be relevant today. So this is why I appreciate like releases on such iconic labels with modern music that I'm doing, like Bedrock, or I have something on Crossown Rebel also coming out in January, and so on. So like proper label with like great reputation and so on that matter today, and I'm happy about that. But if someone is just seeing me for the first time, do your research. Trust me. And I'm not an arrogant motherfucker. I'm totally down to earth. I just did so much stuff. There's so much music to discover. It's like, sometimes I don't recognize my own stuff I've done 20 years, 25 years ago. Oh, fucking cool track. Sounds actually pretty chunky. What's that? That's you, motherfucker. Yeah? when, what is that? 98, yeah, I did this EP on whatever. You know?
Well, you've got to pinch yourself because, I mean, again, I know you're not a massive Depeche Mode fan, are you?
No, not like fan. I always loved them because they are clearly a part of my youth. They came up in the 80s. For me, the best years, the best decade of pop music anyways. And they were just an integral part of my youth without even being a hardcore fan. Depeche Mode was there. People are people, master and servant, all these things. This is the soundtrack of my youth. Yeah. But I was never going crazy to like travel behind them on like so many concerts or anything like that, or like putting posters on the wall. I was far too busy, consuming music as much as I can in all different directions. But it was still quite a big deal to have one of the most prominent songs of what I said, of pop music on the mixer. I remember when I was there with Martin, with Enjoy the Silence. We called it, after a few weeks, we called it Enjoy the Violence. Yeah, because we were really working hard on this, to just like take such an iconic piece of music and reinterpret that without destroying the original vibe. Because that was our target. This is how we get into the studio. We really needed a few weeks to nail it. But I mean, this also gets placed every weekend. I just played it in my last set. I was playing like a few days ago.
Yeah, you 100% nailed it. Yeah, I'm. Me and my wife.
I did Personal Jesus too.
Yeah. I actually, me and my wife are massive Depeche Mode fans, and I'm so surprised that she'd never heard the Personal Jesus mix you did, and I played it for her last week, and she was like, "Holy shit, what is this?" I was like, "This is Timo Maas. This is Timo Maas and Depeche Mode, a match made in heaven." And she was like, "Holy shit," and then that got her going down the rabbit hole, which was really good because she's not a big like dance music fan. She's more like dance music, like 80s kind of Depeche Mode. But she was. This is really good. I was like, yeah, of course, it's really good. But I mean, it is just amazing because she's a Tori Amos fan as well. You've remixed Tori Amos. I mean, and being able to remix Sir Paul McCartney, which is massive for me because, I'm a Scouser, Liverpool, and, He
didn't even know about that. I mean, this would be an extra podcast to tell the story about this thing, but he didn't even know about that. No one asked me for a remix. I had the parts. The story's too long to how I got them, but I got them on kind of a half official way. I got the parts and was thinking, this is like the original song sounds like house music from the 1970s with a piano line in it. And I had the parts, and only 7 years later, I nailed it together with my friend James Teach. And no one asked us for that. No one asked us. No one was expecting nothing. We were just, hey, you have Paul McCartney parts? Yeah, I do. Where do you get them from? No one has Paul McCartney parts. I said, I know. Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing with that? It's laying on my hard disk. I once fixed the speed, and I tried to reinterpret that with different people, but never worked out. Can we work on that? I said, yeah, no one's waiting for that. And so we did. And then blah, blah, blah. As I say, it's like the whole thing is, again, it's like nearly a book. So it's a actually pretty cool story. And it ended up, the peak of it was the Grammy nomination for that. But no one was asking for that. I just did it. I did it with this few things in my career that I just did some things because I love them. But I would say there was this Old Wings song also, I think this is pretty much the absolute maximum you can reach. I mean, getting recognized for something you just did because you love it. It's like, cool. No pressure, no big name pressure or nothing like that. Just did it.
You didn't get a telephone call from Paul.
I met him actually. I had the pleasure. I have a picture also some of my Facebook or so. In the process of when it was getting official and and he loved it and so on. I met him on a concert here in Düsseldorf. He was on his tour. On 17, I was It must have been 2016, 8 years ago. And we were in negotiation with the management. We were like in the process there. And then the manager said, "Hey, Sir Paul is in Düsseldorf on Friday. You know, it's like I'm going to put you on the I'm going to put you on for 8 o'clock for a meet and greet." And I was like 2 days before, and I was like, "What do they mean meet and greet?" And I was writing about, "What do you mean meet and greet? Meet and greet? Yeah, I thought you might like to meet Sir Paul." And I was like, "Fuck yes, of course." So we went then I went with a friend. We went to Düsseldorf, and then I had my 5 minutes with Sir Paul. It was awesome. Just like standing there head to head, a lot of people around us, but we were just talking to each other. He was lovely. He was tiny. And it was probably that moment in my life that showed me when you really believe in your dreams, you can realize that shit. You can really realize that. And as like, you know, a musician, I don't even play an instrument, but I still call myself in a way a musician. I think there's probably nothing bigger than meeting a Beatle and being recognized by. You know?
Yeah. That's when you know you've kind of you've made it. I mean that you can't really.
It's a proud moment. When I met him in the backstage in Düsseldorf, was like, I don't know, 20, 25 people around us. He entered the room, quite a big room, wardrobe and blah blah blah. And he was looking through the room, and then he seen me and he recognized me. Immediately came over. So he did his research also a little bit.
Did your chest go out a little bit?
I was nearly shitting myself. I was so nervous. Of course I'm nervous. I never expected anything like that to happen in my life. As I say, I had quite a hard upbringing, and I needed to really fucking work hard for everything I did in my life. I still work very hard. I'm used to it. And I love to do this. And I never, ever had a mini of idea that, you know, that shit like that is possible when you just believe your dream, you really follow your path, and are willing to also go the bumpy route to reach your goals, eventually. Yeah, I know. I'm old school in that also, my mindset. What?
Well, we've also got to talk. You're not just musically talented. You're Timo likes to cook talented as well, right?
Yeah.
I love that because I'm a chef as well.
Okay, yeah.
By trade, so I mean, there's nothing better for me than a good meal and listening to good music.
It's the same. Music and food is the same. Everyone can get any ingredient, but it's what you cook out of them.
Yeah.
What you make out of them. This is the art again. And for me, chefs are artists also. Like proper chef is an artist. It's like, you know, she's expressing themselves from something they really believe in, they're really convinced of, in the best case scenario. Yeah. And for me, it's the same. And music and cooking was my hobbies. I just made one my job. And if I would not be like somehow a professional musician, I would probably be a professional chef. Because this was the same thing. When I was young, I was like cooking already with 7 or 8. Yeah. Same with my records. That was my 2 bubbles. Yes, thanks for asking me. Timo loves cooking on Instagram. I just said today I got 898 followers.
Look at you.
Yay!
Moving up the world. Well, I've always said like recipes are there to be taken and messed with. You know, too many people again will follow the formula.
Yeah.
And a recipe to me is a guideline. Just tweak it the way, just like music. Tweak music, tweak cooking.
And it's an inspiration. It's ideally an inspiration. And yeah, for me, music, I don't know. I think I need with everything in my life. I need a strong trigger. So it's like this is with the music. So this is why I like the stuff that is not in the same song, that is not in the format. I need something that triggers me differently. And with food, it's different. When I eat spicy food, it has to be like fucking spicy. And if I've been to 99 countries in the world. And one of my things when I come again to an exotic countries, the first thing I go to is on the local markets and try the local food. and see what they sell and see what I know and what I don't know. And, it's like, it's the same with music. It's like, when I have a new resource or anything, then I'm super curious about that. I want to find out more. It's totally the same. It fills me with the same joy. Yeah.
Let's get Timo to 1,000 followers on his. Oh, come on!
It's not even, it's not even important. It's my hobby. Right? It really is my hobby. I just love to cook. The houses, by the way, we don't have you can't smell what I smell here, but I did like my chicken vegetable stock. I started it this morning, like 8 hours ago. And it's just simmering down, just it reduced by 1/3 already. I was just checking before I started the interview here. And the smell is just ridiculously good. So I love that.
What's your go-to music then when you cook? Because for me, it's more like down-tempo and soul. Sade for me when I cook. For some reason, I always put her on when I like to cook a really good meal.
Well, like since he was really there, Nightmares on Wax is one of those sure shots. Nightmares on Wax, Giles Peterson's, any compilation of Giles Peterson. My wife is Latin, actually. She's from Peru. So, but even before I met her, I was already really loving classic Latin music, like from the 60s, 70s, something like that. I just loved it. I always loved it. It's very vibey. And Any Weather or Giles Peterson as the selectors. Nightmares on Wax. I told him that once when we met for the first time. I told him, hey, mate, it's like I love to cook when I listen to music. And he was looking at me, is this a compliment? I said, it's the biggest I can give you, billions. No shit. It's like, it just brings me in the mindset and that. And then he understood, but he was like kind of like, oh yeah, okay, you like to cook. Yeah. But yeah, also rather chill. Not too, I don't like too much. It can be even a bit faster, but not too stressy. Yeah, I don't like overloaded music in general. I like something that, kind of even takes me on a journey. Even a good old Queen album. So can be something that is, it's like I'm losing myself then a little bit in it. It's good. But never loud. I never listen to loud music when I'm cooking. It's always just a soundtrack to what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, when you cook, I mean, especially when I cook too, is you don't have the music so loud because you usually have company. My wife or the kids. I like to be able to hear them, not the music like overload.
It still sets a vibe, and it's all about that. It sets this kind of certain vibe that is like inspires me. I cook, by the way, I cook exactly like a DJ. I see that my fridge is always like decently full with fresh stuff, and I cook really spontaneously. I completely spontaneously. I go on the fridge and say, okay, what am I having? Okay, there's whatever chicken, and okay, I got this with the vegetables. Okay, I do this and that, and then start chopping. While I'm chopping up, I'm already my food set could be slightly different. I could add this, I remember, do something based on a sesame oil dressing or marinade, or something pops up to my mind, and I just do it. Completely spontaneous. I totally love it. My wife loves it too because she never knows what I'm doing. And when it tastes shit, I don't serve it to no one.
Yeah.
This, I never serve any. Then I rather make like a sandwich and like that. Said, okay, my food didn't work out, but it doesn't happen very often. But it happened before. Nah.
Trial and error. That's what it is. I'm very good at cooking. I'm just not very good at baking.
Same.
Because it's more of a science, and I don't like it because you have to be exact with everything. While cooking, you can do whatever you really want. With baking, you've got to be exact, and I'm like, nah, I'm not having that.
Okay, a piece of lime, a bit of this, a bit of that. I got my drawer there with all my herbs and spices and stuff like that, and it's like it's like a well-filled record box. Actually, okay, I try this. But right. In baking, you can't do that. I never thought why I'm not too much into baking, but maybe that's the reason, because I'm too much. If you have like 20 grams too much of baking powder, you're fucked. Yeah. Or less, you're fucked too. And it's like Now, I do pretty good pancakes, let's say it like that. It's like my cookies, especially when they have like some kind of herbal ingredients, are also decent. But that's about it. It's like I love barbecues. I love Peruvian food. As I said, my wife is from Peru, so an Asian food and also the traditional German food. Basically everything. I like to cook everything. Indian food or whatever that is.
Well, I've got two last questions for you.
I'm just looking.
I know it goes. That's what I kind of love about the podcast is you just having great conversation, and I already kind of look and I'm like, wow, it's already an hour and something. It's because it just flows. There's not really a pause. There's not much white noise. We're talking about things that we love, so it's great. I know you've got a bunch of stuff coming out. Do you want to? I know you got the Bedrock coming out. You said next week.
No, it's tomorrow actually.
Oh, tomorrow?
No, on Friday. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, on Friday that's coming out. For everyone, I guess this podcast is coming out in a few days. So 1st of November, that's out on Bedrock, 2 tracks with my friend Costax from Italy. Young talent. For me also, it's very important to work with like younger generations, getting inspired by them, also inspire them and try to push them into like kind of things they haven't discovered yet. Works actually quite well. I have a few of those projects. There's a track on Cross on Rebel coming out with Inamo, another homie from New York, actually, that's coming out in January. I just released a track called Beat the Beat Up, which is actually doing pretty well right now in the clubs. On a small Italian label, Loco Dice is just about to finish the remix for that, so he's still my old friend. And he's delivering the remix for the next days too, so that's coming out in December. And I am actually writing the songs for a very good friend of mine, like a rock musician from a band I work with a lot, and I'm writing new songs at the moment with him. So there's there's something bubbling, and so far it's all relatively early stages, but I mean the demos are there, so wish me luck that we can complete that, because I think this is super awesome. It's completely out of the box of what everyone would expect from me, but it sounds like me. And then there's definitely 1 or 2 of the older things are going to be re-released next year. In what form, I will see. I'm, as I say, 24/7. It's my days are filled with negotiations, with work, with this, with cooking, and but there's a whole bunch of things coming up, and it's like whoever is into also my sound of today, there's a whole bunch. Check out Beatbox. There's a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of collaborations. I released last week. I released like 2 tracks with Vatsik from Mexico, famous teacher from Mexico, did a remix for Adi, an Indian artist, and like proper techno actually, and Twisted, of course, and so on and so on. So many things right now. I'm super happy. So I was working hard, especially in the last 1.5 years, and I am continuously working hard and a lot and full of passion to deliver the goods of today's sound and also represent, like, let's say, my heritage, because I do have an heritage, and I also have the plan to stick the kiddies' noise aside a little bit into, like, hey, smell that, recognize? That's me. Yeah, there's a lot I can look back to, and I can kind of like rely on, and that's good.
Well, Timo, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Like I said in the beginning, you are part of my musical landscape, and I'm honoured to chat to you. I want to say thank you to Neil, one of our good mates, for hooking me up with Timo. I really appreciate that.
You told us you were latch.
He's a good person.
I had so amazing parties with him. Seriously. The best parties I ever had in LA, and I had a lot of great parties in LA, always Neil. always knew. We had such a good time back in the years. Oh
He
my
looks
God.
after you. He looks after you.
He's just a nice bloke. He's just a lovely person. What I said in the beginning, right? He's just one of those people. No matter how long we haven't seen each other or we didn't talk to each other, it's like, you know, you even don't say hello to him. Just boy, mate, you know, blah blah blah. You immediately back in, immediately great vibes. Those people are rather rare. Because he told me, I don't know, you would have probably approached me, and then I said, well, okay, you know, it's another podcast. But he told me, and then there's no question from him. It's like, you know, it's proper reference. We know each other such a long time. We're very good friends. So, yeah.
Well, please, for all you, when this does come out, please go check out Timo on Beatport, you know, Spotify, Bandcamp.
SoundCloud also. I have a whole bunch of things.
Musical, anything out there, you will find Timo's name. So please check him out. As always, please like, subscribe, put your notifications on, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.